Welcome to the 10th episode of the Where's On podcast, hosted by Chandler Dantzler. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and watch on YouTube. Today we have Colorado Rockies closer, Justin Lawrence. We're pumped to have you on the show.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the invite. I'm excited to see how this goes.
Yep. Before we start talking about your time in college and in the majors, I'd like to ask this question here. Who is Justin Lawrence? How would you introduce yourself?
I am Justin Lawrence, reliever for the Colorado Rockies. I was born in Panama and raised in Jacksonville. Played baseball there my entire life before getting drafted by the Rockies in the 12th round in 2015.
Gotcha. All right, let's start with the first topic here. Let's talk about what happened in 2015. You were drafted by the Colorado Rockies in the 12th round. Can you talk about what it was like getting drafted and what it meant to you and your family?
Oh man, it was kind of a surreal moment because it really did kind of came out of nowhere within the last maybe 6, 7 months leading up to the draft. I was at Jacksonville University my freshman year, ended up transferring out and went to Daytona State. I was still two-way playing there, but then I kind of picked up a little velo, and coaches were like, "Hey, like let's really just focus on the pitching. We think you have a future in pitching." I was like, "All right, let's do it." And that was in November of that fall that I
Gotcha.
really started picking up the velo. And I mean, draft is in June, so we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about a 6, 7 month period where I went from just really hoping to get another scholarship to play baseball for a couple more years and get a degree or whatever to, hey, you might be getting drafted. So it wasn't one of those things that was like, I don't know, really good high school player that's like, oh, I'm a sophomore and I'm, committed to a big time D1 and I have a
Mm-hmm.
chance to be drafted in the next 3 years or whatever. It really came out of nowhere. So it was definitely, it was exciting. It was exciting for sure.
That's great. All right. You were in the minors for 7 seasons with 259 innings pitched, 242 hits, 141 earned runs, 274 strikeouts. Take us through the process, and was it a big difference from college baseball?
Oh man, it was definitely a huge learning curve for me, just mentally and physically. When I first got drafted, uh, kind of let the nerves get a little me early. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm kind of a mid to late round junior college arm,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going and playing against all these newly drafted guys, and I'm like, these are probably guys that are their 1 through 5 hole hitter for some SEC teams and Pac-12 teams and stuff like that. And I'm just like, kind of let the game speed up on me on the mental side of it. But once I kind of realized my stuff plays and I got drafted for a reason and started believing in that, it's really where the success started coming in.
All right. You were talking about how the nerves got to you. It kind of brings us into the next question or next topic here. On April 29th, 2021, you made your MLB debut, closing the final inning with 1 hit, 1 strikeout, and 16 pitches. Can you take us through what that was like and were you nervous at all?
I think initially just running out, I was kind of nervous, knowing that was going to be the first time. But I would probably say once I actually got out on the mound, it's really surprising how normal it felt. I guess you could say not necessarily like wow I deserve to be here, but more of like a okay this is the same game. It's
Yeah.
just a lot more fans, bigger stadium, stuff like that. But the biggest thing for me was just like realizing like it's the same game, right? Like I've been pitching, for 7 years in the minor leagues now. Like it's time to go and it's time to roll.
Yeah, for sure. All right. In your 3 seasons in the majors, you have an ERA of 4.84, 111.1 innings pitched, 99 hits, 60 earned runs, 118 strikeouts. How has it been being in the major league pitching against the best of the best?
It's no room for error, that's for sure. It's exciting at times, when you're throwing well and things are going well. You just kind of roll and time goes by quickly. But then there's also times when things are going great that you gotta bounce back and you gotta figure out how to make sure, it's a 6 month season. You don't want something to snowball and compound
Yep.
into something worse. But man, this season it's been a fun season so far, and we got a lot of young guys coming up soon.
Awesome. All right, let's talk about what happened back in March. On March 8th of 2023, you secured Panama's first ever WBC victory. Walk us through the WBC and what the atmosphere was like.
Oh man, that was probably a top three baseball moment in my life. So I was out in Taiwan, and we had the first night game of the WBC, and it happened to be
Mm-hmm.
against Taiwan, which is Chinese Taipei, and there wasn't an empty seat. The way they're cheering, and they'll have their announcers like starting like chants, like in the middle of a pitch. Like you're used to playing baseball, and there's people cheering and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
it gets quiet. When it's like time to pitch and time to focus on the pitcher and the action, it gets
Uh-huh.
quiet. Out there was, I mean, it was 9 innings straight of like dancing and cheering, and the horns and the announcers on the microphone. It was extremely loud for probably 4 hours, like 4 hours straight. Very,
Jeez.
very loud.
That's crazy. All right. Who is the toughest hitter you have faced being in the majors?
Oh man. It's going to be between Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani.
Jeez.
Haven't faced Shohei since 21, but I faced Soto, same division, so I face him a handful of times a year, and just a big body that stands far away from the plate, so you feel like you have space to work, and you'll rip a pitch, rip a fastball away because he's so far away from the plate, and he's just on time, and
Uh-huh.
he has an extremely good eye. So it's like you get him 0-2, and you want to throw a ball to strike or a strike to ball type pitch, try to get him to chase. He doesn't chase, and then next thing you know, you're in a 2-2, 3-2 count, and now you have to get back in the zone. So my favorite times when I face him has been the last two times. Actually, was both times first pitch swinging, and he hit a ground ball. So I was like, that's basically best case scenario. Don't
Yeah.
keep him in the box too long. Don't get him thinking. So that was I probably I'll say Soto over him just because I have to face him a lot more.
Those are like two of the top hitters in the MLB right now, too.
Yeah.
All right. You attended First Coast High School in Jacksonville, Florida, and played college baseball at Jacksonville University and Daytona State College. Give us some insight on what it was like playing high school in this and college in the same city.
It was very cool. I committed JU pretty early before my junior year, so it was cool knowing that for the next couple of years that I was still going to be able to stay at home and play at
Mm-hmm.
home for however long that lasted. Obviously, it was only 1 year, but just having friends and family, being able to make a 20-minute drive, 15-minute drive to come watch me play. When a lot of the times you think about college, it's like, oh no, like this is a time in your life where you're leaving and you're going to another
Yeah.
state, or you're moving across the state. So I was lucky enough to have that extra year at home. Daytona State was only an hour and 15 minutes away, so it wasn't terrible. Still able to come
Yeah.
home often.
It's not too bad. All right. In your 1 year at JU, you pitched in 20.1 innings, 21 hits, 11 earned runs, 12 strikeouts. Talk about that season and what it was like playing in your hometown.
For me, that first season, a lot of growing pains. Just a lot of time for me to learn, how to live life by myself, being away from my family and all that stuff. But as far as the season went, that's the year that I dropped down my arm slot. So I'd probably say 10 of those innings have been, we're just like straight over the top,
Mm-hmm.
whatever standard. And then the last half of that season was when I decided to drop down.
Gotcha.
Ended up getting a lot more playing time. So it ended up working out, dropping that arm slot.
All right. That's great. All right. What was your biggest challenge going from college to pro ball?
I kind of touched on it earlier. Really, like I said, just making that transition of going from, facing junior college kids where, maybe the leadoff hitter and the two hole might be, some pretty solid guys, to where you
Yeah.
get to pro ball and 1 through 9, they
They're
got
all good.
drafted. So
Yep.
they're going to be good hitters. Like I said, whether they were a leadoff hitter at, an SEC school, or if they were a high school first, second round kid that's just got it, got it handled or figured out at that level.
Mm-hmm. All right. If you could give any advice to yourself in high school, what would it be?
Um, Man, I would have told myself to work out more, just because the velo really came when I started working out and hitting the gym a lot in my sophomore year. So I would just say, I just really wish I would have gotten the gym a little more. There's no telling. Maybe that velo would have came a little earlier. I was throwing 94, 95 my sophomore year of college. Who knows what would have happened if I would have started working out,
Yeah.
harder 2 years earlier, and I'm throwing
Right.
maybe possibly 94, 95 as a senior in high school.
Yeah,
That's a big difference.
for sure. All right. You kind of already hinted the next topic here. Let's talk about training. How many days do you train a week? And what does training look like on a day you pitch?
On the day I pitch, obviously as a reliever, it's a little tough. Really to have like a full out like scheduled regimen. But for me, I don't. I love lower body workouts, so I'll get in there, and it actually makes me feel better that evening when I pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I go in there and deadlift or squat, and then I'll usually do my upper bodies whenever I pitch. I usually pitch, anywhere from 3 to 4 or 5 times a week. So
Yeah.
I'll get an upper body at least a couple times a week in there. It's hard with the upper body because it's more of just like a maintenance to get you through the season.
Yeah.
Whereas in the off season, I spend a lot more time in the gym, mobility, all that stuff. I'm basically in there every day, whether it's a recovery day or whatever it may be. But for me, like I said, yeah, like off season is huge for me. Getting ready for the next season, I like to spend a lot of time trying to get strong.
All right, that's awesome. All right, when you were in college, what motivated you to go to the gym every day and get that extra work in at the field?
Um, Knowing that I left a 4-year scholarship on the table at JU, and knowing that going to a junior college on a 1-year, small scholarship could have been my last year playing baseball.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? I could have had fun and just worried about like, whatever. Like if I get signed somewhere, I get signed somewhere. We'll see what happens. But for me, it was like I wasn't remotely close, ready to be done playing baseball. So I was like, dude, I'm going to put my head down. I'm just going to grind. This could be an all or nothing year for me. And really the goal going, getting to that junior college, I never really thought about the draft. Like it wasn't even in my head. It was like, I have to get back to another 2-year school. Like I got to go get my degree. I want to go play baseball, and back at the D1 level again for 2 more years. So I just knew that if I didn't give it my all that year, that would have been my last year playing baseball, and
Yep.
I wasn't ready for that.
Gotcha. All right. What's it like being a closer or a reliever in the MLB? Do you know what games you're going to close, or are you ready every game?
Lately, I know which games I'm going to close. I've been kind of given that role this past couple of weeks, but it's really just staying ready every day as a reliever. You really can't, unless you know like that the coaching staff knows you're down because you've thrown 2 days in a row or you've thrown a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of pitches. It's really just you're getting ready every day. It gets to that fifth or sixth inning, and it's time to start moving around. Time to
Uh-huh.
mentally lock it in and get ready to go.
Gotcha. All right, let's talk about relationships. It's crazy the amount of relationships you can build while playing baseball. Can you talk about that and the relationships you have built with your friends?
Oh man, it's unique for sure. Especially for me, I like to joke around with the hitters a lot about how I used to hit and all this stuff. So it's kind of been like a little bonding thing for me to get close with guys like Alan Trejo and Ryan Man, even Charlie Blackman, like, and then talking to them just about the other side of the game.
Uh-huh.
You like to learn as a pitcher. You obviously like to learn from pitchers and all that stuff, but if you can get a perspective from a hitter standpoint,
It's even better.
it actually opens it up for you more than you would think because you can talk to a pitcher about a pitcher's perspective, but that's just what they see and how they think it's going to go. But when a hitter tells you like, "Oh, dude, like throw that slider more," like it's super uncomfortable. Like that's something that you're not going to get from
From a
pitchers not
pitcher.
to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's having that relationship. Honestly, those friendships with those position players, it even helps me on the mound.
Uh-huh. All right, let's take it away from baseball for a minute. Who is your pregame artist or song before a game?
Pre-game song.
Yeah.
Oh man, honestly, I like oh dude, there's so many good ones. Honestly, I'll just throw on like a good rap playlist, good hip hop playlist, and throw that thing on shuffle. There's definitely not like one single song that I listen to. Definitely goes on the mood.
Gotcha. All right. What do you do in your free time outside of baseball when you have some free time?
In the off season, I like to fish. I like to golf a lot. I'll golf a little bit during the season, depending on how the body's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, a lot of the time, it's getting back and playing video games,
Yep.
basically till it's time to go to bed, and then wake up. Usually don't have to go to the field till 1, 2 o'clock, and so same thing. We'll just rip video games till it's time to head to the field.
Gotcha. All right. If you could give any advice to someone wanting to play at the next level, what would you say to them?
It would be if it seems like a distraction, probably is. you got to think about, oh, should I really be doing this? Probably shouldn't do it. I know in the moment when you're young and growing up and going through high school and all those things that you feel like you're missing out, right? Like you don't want to go miss out on that cool thing that everybody's doing. But it's such a pivotal moment in your life as far as growing from a mature standpoint, from a physical standpoint. It's really that 4 years in high school is where you can really change the trajectory of your life and what you want to do with it. So my biggest thing would be if you can, just for 4 years, man, 2, 3, 4 years, just try to stay away from the things that you got to think about probably not doing. Stay away from them, man, and it's probably going to stink in the moment telling your friends, nah, man, like I'm not going to do that tonight or whatever. Or
For sure.
I'm not going to go to this party with these friends because, knowing they got practice the next morning or whatever, it's probably not a great idea. You'll thank yourself, later down the road when you're older and you kind of realize you'll be like, it was worth it. I'm at where I want to be in my life now because I made those decisions then. Just kind of looking towards your future a little more.
Yep. All right, Justin, thank you for coming on the podcast and good luck with the rest of your season with the Rockies.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you having me, and let's do it again sometime.
Let's do it.